Northern California is bracing for more nasty weather after 2 storms within the last week drenched parts of the state. Heavy rain washed out roads while powerful winds uprooted trees and knocked out power to thousands. In Capitola, the pier was sliced in half by dangerous waves. This is in the small town in Santa Cruz there. Waves also crashed right up against homes along the beach. Look at that video. More possibly strong storms are expected to hit parts of California again early next week. Thanks for being here at 6 a.m. on this Friday. I'm Eric Connor.
And I'm Dana Marie McNichols. So I think so many people in California aren't ready for that weather. And when we see it, it's
huge impact here.
Huge. Okay, here at home, lifeguards are warning about extremely big surf.
Yeah, this morning they are telling people to just stay out of the water, especially after the rain. CBS 8's Chris Groh live in Ocean Beach with more on these dangerous conditions. We've seen the size of those waves, tempting for some, but only the most experienced should be out there, right?
Yeah, exactly. And really, if you're even thinking about it, that's probably a good sign that you're probably not ready. In that case, you're not experienced enough to get out there. And look, lifeguards are warning everyone really to stay out of the water for 2 reasons. You mentioned the experience regarding the safety of the surf, the riptides that we could be seeing, but also let's just point out the fact that every time that we see rain like this, there should be about a 72-hour pause before people go back in the water due to potential runoff contamination. So maybe that should sway those who are experienced surfers from getting in the water. But we all know that surf culture and surfers, a hard punch to sway that way. They're going to want to get out there. They're going to want to get on the waves. So, of course, we should let you know exactly what we could be experiencing today. 10 to 16 feet peak surf. That is expected to happen as early as this morning. Again, we will be seeing this around the coast. San Diego lifeguards are urging caution and again recommending that you stay out of the water. Now, something else that we're going to be looking at is that coastal flooding does look like that could happen. We're going to see high tide around 8 a.m. and that could approach 6 feet. And while the Ocean Beach Pier is closed, we were able to get obviously up to the gate, and you could see a lot of those waves starting to hit the retaining wall there, that wall there that separates the parking lot from the sand there down on the beach. And this is something that is happening at this moment, even before that 8 o'clock hour. So again, lifeguards are urging that people stay safe, they stay vigilant, and that they keep their head on a swivel, even if they're just out observing Mother Nature.
Even extremely advanced surfing is going to be problematic for people. You know, the swells and waves are very inconsistent, and you can find yourself in a problem very quickly.
And some of the other advice that we heard, of course, is that if you are out there surfing and you do find yourself in distress, to go ahead and put your hand up. Don't feel like this is not something that, you know, you can't be rescued safe from. Always try to stay calm, put your hand up. Lifeguards will be out on patrol. They will be extra staffed. We've seen those pickup trucks out on the beach, obviously, when when the sun is up and they are able to see out into the ocean. So they will be out there. They will be watching and maybe even try to surf so that you can be within view of those lifeguards. Eric and Dana Marie.
Chris, staying dry out there, thank you. Today marks 2 years since the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. This morning, President Biden will give the Presidential Citizens Medal to several Capitol police officers and state election officials for their actions to demand democracy. Over 900 people have been charged in connection to the attack. Here at home, some San Diegans are rallying to demand more accountability. They will gather at the Balboa Park fountain at 2 p.m. Right now, President Biden is getting ready to visit El Paso, Texas on Sunday. It's his first time visiting the border since taking office. He plans to address border enforcement operations, including new plans to expand legal pathways to come to the United States. Applicants will have to pass a security background check, have a sponsor in the U.S. who can provide financial support, and complete all vaccinations and health requirements. The White House says this will create a legal pathway to admit up to 30,000 people a month from Nicaragua, Cuba, and Haiti. But those who try to enter illegally will be expelled to Mexico.
Do not just show up at the border. Stay where you are and apply legally from there. Starting today, if you don't apply through the legal process, you will not be eligible for this new parole program.
After his trip to El Paso, President Biden will go to Mexico City to meet with Mexico's president, where immigration is expected to take center stage.
This morning, a sexually violent predator is scheduled to appear in court for a placement hearing. Merle Wakefield was convicted of sex crimes in the 80s and 90s. Previous proposals to place Wakefield in neighborhoods like Mount Helix and Borrego Springs did not move forward. Today's hearing is set for 9 a.m. Tomorrow marks 2 years since Chula Vista mother Mayamiliee disappeared. Her husband, Larry Miliete, has been charged with her murder, though her body has never been found. Larry will be in court next Wednesday. This will be the first time the public will get to see evidence in the criminal case. Meantime, Maya's family is honoring her this weekend by sponsoring a hike. They will gather tomorrow at 9 a.m. at Mount San Miguel Community Park.
This morning, we're working for you to get answers about why your bill is skyrocketing with SDGE. The company says it's because natural gas prices are up, but some of you weren't buying that, saying natural gas prices are actually down. SDGE says prices are higher on the West Coast because demand isn't high and just the cold weather that we've been seeing. We went to a nonprofit public watchdog to see what's really going on. They said to look into whether SDGE was selling and buying back natural gas. The company tells us they are not doing that, but instead are buying gas during the last 5 days of the month, so the price consumers pay isn't reflected on daily charts and is delayed. Public watchdog also has some advice for consumers.
Well, the first right you have, which isn't a very pleasant one, is to conserve. The second right you have is to call the governor and let him know that this is a serious problem.
You can also contact the California Public Utilities Commission, the government agency that regulates public utilities, including SDGE.
Well, new this morning, California's drought conditions, they are improving. I can't remember last time I said that.
That's right. 4 years ago, maybe,
Yeah.
beyond that.
I know that you've been working to kind of look at these latest numbers here because there's a lot that goes in. There's a lot of data.
It was yesterday that you were telling me that new drought monitor data came out. So we went and checked it immediately, and there's some promising sights on it. We're not by any means saying that this is the end of the drought for California, but the improvements that we're seeing are notable, especially with the rain that we saw over just the last 2 weeks. Take a look. This is the latest drought monitor from the state of California, which shows that no part of the state of California is in the exceptional drought category. That is different from just 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we had that drought report that showed a good portion of California's Central Valley, about 7% of our state in total, was in that exceptional drought category. You see that color classification here. Now, we do still see a stretch from north of LA all the way up to the border with Oregon that's in the extreme category, but there is no longer that exceptional category. When we head down to San Diego specifically, we are in the moderate category for our drought conditions. This hasn't changed all that much over the last couple weeks, even with the rain that we've been seeing. And still, despite these steady improvements, we continue to emphasize that this is a marathon and not a sprint. It does not take a week or 2 weeks of rain to end a drought for the state of California. This is going to be an ongoing process, but still, the last couple weeks of rainfall and waves of atmospheric rivers have absolutely helped us out. Only 2% of the state of California is below the moderate drought category, so just in that dry category, and that's just off to the east of us around Imperial County. So we're hoping for more improvements in that direction. When we look outside right now, we've got some fog that we're still working through. Visibility is reduced for Oceanside. We're at a third of a mile. El Cajon, similar situation out there. 6 miles in Carlsbad, 10 miles in Miramar, doing pretty well. And then down toward downtown San Diego, we are at 7 miles of visibility. So reduce your speed out on the road if you do see that visibility is reduced and you're not able to see too far in front of you. Forecast for the day showing low 60s. For the coastline, 60s will climb by a bit. 62 degrees is what we're expecting for our inland valleys this afternoon, and 50 for the mountains, 68 for the deserts. Partly cloudy skies, a break from the wet weather is in the forecast for today, tomorrow, Sunday, and even Monday. It's not until late Monday night that we're expecting more rain to come back into the forecast, and that'll continue through early Tuesday. High-level clouds and mid-level clouds have started to break apart, giving us a little bit more clarity. Once that that fog does lift, which will be the late morning, 10, 11 a.m. or so. We'll get a lot more sunshine beaming through. Wind speeds have died down, still a bit breezy off toward the mountaintops. You can see that darker green tone across the mountains. Booker Hill, Sill Hill still in the low double digits, but not nearly at the level that those wind speeds were for a wind advisory that was in effect yesterday. We look at your high temperatures. They're comfortable for this afternoon. 62 for San Diego and Coronado, 64 for El Cajon this afternoon. We'll head up your coastline and you can see that. We've got a couple 50s scattered in there, but otherwise 62 still a popular one for Fallbrook all the way down through Rancho Bernardo and Poway this afternoon. Traffic this morning has been light. We will keep you up to date on what those roads are looking like, but so far we've actually been faring pretty well as far as your drive times go. So you can see how we have green across the screen here on the 5 southbound, 78 westbound, and 52 westbound as well.